Hey guys, welcome back to the Red Peak Media channel. My name is Kelvin Krupiak, and today we're gonna talk about Fiverr. Now, for those of you who might not have known, Fiverr is an online digital marketplace where you can get a wide variety of different services done for a very cost-effective budget. Things like graphic design, web design, or even animation, whatever it is, chances are there's a gig for it on Fiverr. And when I first got into the world of digital marketing, I absolutely fell in love with Fiverr. But just because you love something doesn't mean you shouldn't be careful. So what I thought I would do today is give you guys some things that you should absolutely go looking for on Fiverr, especially if you're trying to save some money, as well as give you guys some things that you should just steer clear from because they can do more harm than good. So let's start this list off with logo design. There are a ton of artists available on Fiverr who are ready and willing to make you a logo. If you head on over there right now and you type in logo design, there's gonna be a huge number of search results. But the great thing is you can search through the different portfolios of the different artists and pick and choose different elements of previous logos they've created. So let's say you like a certain color scheme or a specific font, then you can actually take a screenshot and say, hey, I really like this logo that you created for this specific company. I'd like to take these elements and add them to the specific ideas I have for my logo. I've personally never had a bad experience getting a logo designed on Fiverr, but one of the things you wanna make sure you're doing when you are looking for any type of graphic design is, especially with a logo, is you wanna look at the different pricing options available because they're gonna have different elements that you might know and you might not realize you do need. Ideally, you do wanna make sure you're getting the source file for the logo. That means the Photoshop file or the Adobe Illustrator file, whatever it is. That way you can give it to a designer down the line if you do wanna make changes. And at the very least, if you're not gonna be getting the source file, make sure you're getting a logo with a transparent background or a vector image. A vector image is something that can actually scale without losing clarity. So if you try to make the logo bigger for printing on a card or a poster, it's not gonna become extremely pixelated. And the transparent background will allow you to place the logo in a number of different places without having one solid color always blocked around that logo. And again, like I said, always take a look at the different pricing structures for each individual artist. They're always gonna be different. There is not a set pricing structure across all of Fiverr. So it is important to get familiar with all the different materials you're gonna be getting for that $5 or for that $20. Now then, my second favorite gig on Fiverr is going to be infographics. They are still incredibly useful to you, especially on networks like Pinterest. There was a company I worked with that was actually getting 20 to 30,000 hits a month to their website from infographics that they were putting up on Pinterest. As someone who has taken the time to create infographics from scratch, I can tell you that $5 to $10 for a resource that's gonna live forever on Pinterest or within your blog post is definitely worth the buy. Sending out infographics to clients can also be very useful. So let's say you're a real estate agent and you wanna explain something about mortgages to your client. And instead of sending 5 paragraphs of densely laid out text, you just have to send one infographic with all the important numbers graphically laid out. It's much easier to consume and a lot easier to understand. My third favorite gig on Fiverr has to do with videos, and specifically video intros. Moving here to 2018 and 2019, video is going to continue becoming the most predominantly consumed form of media, so it's becoming more and more critical that you start leveraging it. And having a quality video intro and outro is a great way to maximize your brand's exposure through that piece of content that you're creating. It's also extremely easy to do. You can take the logo you just had created and then give that to another artist. Make sure you have the transparent background that's gonna be very critical for something like video, and then they can whip you up an intro, no problem. It usually takes a couple days and it isn't that expensive at all. In addition to the intros, I'm also a big fan of the whiteboard explainer style videos that you can find on Fiverr. Very similar to what an infographic does in terms of breaking down a technically dense subject to discuss. A whiteboard explainer video can do the exact same thing, but it's taking advantage of another medium. So video, again, gonna become the most predominantly consumed form of media. I think it's definitely a good idea to have some of those videos spread throughout your site, sent out via email, and published up on your social media feeds. So those are some of the things that I'm a huge fan of on Fiverr. Again, that's graphic design in general and video animation. Graphic design for logos as well as infographics. It's gonna be very useful and it's very cost effective. Same goes for the intros for your videos and the explainer videos. Those are all gonna be very useful to your overall marketing strategy. Now let's talk about some of the things that I think you should avoid. First, stay away from anything that has to do with SEO, search engine optimization, which has to do with optimizing your website and the content on your website for specific searches within Google, which is definitely something you want to learn about and leverage. An effective SEO strategy can have a huge impact on the long-term success of your website and your content. But more often than not, whenever I come across somebody who says they're gonna go in and optimize your website for $5 to $10, they're trying to take advantage of dated shortcuts that used to work in Google. Things like keyword stuffing or manipulating the meta descriptions to try and take advantage of the search results. And a lot of those things do not positively contribute to an effective SEO strategy anymore. A lot of those are dated shortcuts that used to work, that Google's very much aware of now. And odds are that if they do use those shortcuts, they could hurt your website in the long term. Now, if you want to get something like keyword research done, where they actually do some local research and give you a list of keywords that you can build content around, that's totally fine. But what I'm saying is don't give someone access to your website so they can optimize it for $5 to $10. Don't give anybody access to your website for $5 to $10. That all being said, I really do love SEO and it's a topic I love discussing. So if you guys want to see a video on search engine optimization, please leave a comment down below. I'd love to make that happen. I have a friend, TJ, who's an expert in the field, and I would love to do a video with him covering some of the best practices that small businesses can use to increase their visibility on Google. Now, my final don't when it comes to Fiverr has to do with copywriting. I have never been able to secure quality written content from Fiverr. And if you have had a different experience, leave a comment down below to the specific person you've worked with. I would love to highlight them, but I just personally have not found anybody who's been able to give me a quality written piece of content. More often than not, I have to spend quite a bit of time actually restructuring and reorganizing the content that they gave back to me. So it's just not worth the expense. If you do want to find somewhere to pay for written content, I would suggest checking out BlogMut. That's my favorite resource. I've used iWriter, I've used Fiverr, I've used UpWork, I've used BlogMut, and BlogMut is definitely my favorite when it comes to getting quality written content. I just wouldn't bother sifting through the different results for copywriting on Fiverr. Generally speaking, you're gonna spend more time having to revise what's submitted back to you than you would have liked to. So save your money there. Check out BlogMut if that's what you're looking for, or the agency you're working with should have someone they work with specifically to get written content for you. And there you have it, guys. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, be sure to leave a like right down below and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell icon when you do subscribe. That'll notify you anytime I upload a new video, and I'm working to get a new video up every single week. Also, if you have any questions or comments about what you saw in today's video, leave them right down below, and I promise I'll get back to you right away. And as always, guys, it's such a pleasure, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.